Well, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I am excited to interview Kalika Kirk. She is a coach for Christian women over 30 who are single and want to be married. And today, we're going to discuss how she got her first client. So, Kalika, can you just talk to me a little bit about, let's go in depth of why you're specializing in this topic?
I love that. I maybe like many people who end up coaching, it was my story, and that's
Mm.
why I landed where I did. Um, I was single for a long time, like over 15 years, and wanted to be married. And it was much longer than I ever thought I would be single. And the year or two before I got married, I just had a lot of shifts and growth in my thinking, and that directly led to recognizing my husband when he came into my life and being able to sort of navigate the ups and downs of dating when we were dating each other. And so we got married in December of 2020. And I just thought other women need to know this. Other women need to know how to make these shifts so that they can get married because I just love my husband and I love being married. And for so long, I never thought I would be there. And I wanted to turn around and just help all the women after me who were struggling with the same things and struggling for longer than they thought. There's something different about being single for a long time, like past your 20s. Um, there's just unique like mindsets and beliefs and lies that you're susceptible to at that point. And so I just understood it. And then I wanted to help other women in that same place.
Wow. So walk me through a little bit, like before you joined CBI, you got married, you wanted to help people, but maybe let's expose one of those faulty thinkings or lies that Christian women over 30 who are single might believe that you're like, oh, I know those unique situations. Just walk me through maybe one of them, and then
Yeah.
we could go from there.
Well, I actually think a big one that was true for me and also has been true in the lives of the clients that I've worked with, um, surrounds like conflict and recognizing conflict as an opportunity actually for closeness. Um, I think a lot of us think that, well, a lot of us have an idea of conflict that's shaped by what we saw in our parents' marriage.
Mm,
And until we recognize what pain we bring that leads to conflict in our relationships, um, we're just going to blame the other person and try to control their behavior because they're the one who's causing the conflict. And that just leads to distance. And if we can recognize it as this is an opportunity for closeness, for me to share the pain that I'm struggling with that's causing the conflict, then my boyfriend or my husband can step in and support me and come alongside me in my pain, in my hurt, in my sadness, in my fear, and support me in that and be there for me in that. And it draws us closer together. So I think just understanding the nature of conflict and how it's actually an opportunity for connection was really helpful in overcoming things that had derailed like a lot of my relationships in the past.
wow, that's so great to hear. Like, in conflict, most people want to wall up and go on the offense, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
no, no, the opposite is true. You have to be vulnerable, and that's the key. And that's just one
Yeah.
of the things you started to recognize. So what were you doing before joining CBI?
Um, well, I had started my business about a year and a half before I joined CBI, and I had done some business coaching. I had worked though with clients in a one-on-one nature, and I was looking to shift and sort of scale beyond one-on-one and move to more of like a group coaching format. And I knew I wanted that to include some sort of online course that my clients could work through because I was finding as I was working with my one-on-one clients that I was addressing a lot of the same things and teaching a lot of the same tools to all of them. So the a course that they could work through on their own allows everybody to learn those tools, and then I can still support them in coaching regularly a couple times a week maybe. And just impact more people in a more efficient way. So I was kind of looking to do that and hadn't known quite how to do all of that. And then I came
Yeah.
across BI summer of 2022 and just immediately felt like this was the fit, a good fit.
Yeah. What were some of those things about Christian Business Incubator or CBI that were a good fit for you where you're like, oh man, I'm totally in. I want to do this.
Yeah, I liked that. It was unashamed about being a Christian, like for Christian business owners and supporting Christian business owners in their ministries, their work. Um, I liked obviously the format fit well. It was helping you build an online coaching business around a course that included a number of modules as well as live coaching calls. And that was exactly the format that I was looking to build, but didn't quite know how. And I liked that it was just very step by step and walked you through each step that you needed to do. And I think the last thing I really liked was that he emphasized mindset, which is like so important for building a business because you can get off in 100 different ways and discouraged and doubt yourself and not grow because of just so many different things you can believe that slow you down. So I like that Paul emphasized mindset and working on your mindset as you're growing your business with the practical steps too.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So where are you now that you've joined CBI? You started kind of the process and then you got your first enrolled person. Walk me through that a little bit.
Uh, um, I I I spent quite a while on the like groundwork
Yeah.
behind the scenes kind of stuff as I worked through the CBI program. And I really took my time on that to identify like who my target audience was and make sure that I was on track with what I thought I wanted to do. I got some tech in place that I hadn't had in place before, and that was really helpful just for organizing information. And I can't really overstate how valuable that is. So I got
Mm.
some of that in place. Um, and then I got my first enrollment and started building out my course for my clients. So I now have my course built, which is so exciting because that just seemed like overwhelming and something that could take like 6 months to a year to create. And it came a lot faster than I thought it would. And um, it's really exciting now that it's done. And I have my first client who's been going through it and just getting really, really good results.
That's awesome. And in the midst of that, you also had a massive life change, right?
I don't know if you see these little hands poking up here, but I have a baby on my lap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you've gone through a lot. You're like, I'm starting a business, having getting married, starting a business, and having a child, like all in this, and
yeah.
the Lord's been blessing it, and it's been awesome. And how do you feel about where you are now? With your business and all things going on.
It's really exciting to be at this point. I don't think I knew how I was going to get here, and God just did, and so He brought along what I needed and the resources I needed in the timeline that I needed them. So it feels really good to just have some of the systems in place that I do now, and some of the organization that CBI gave me that I didn't have in place before. That really helps kind of give me a framework for my business. And I'm looking to add more clients. I'm so excited to continue growing this program and just helping so many women get to the life that they want and just the happy, thriving, godly marriages that they want. Yeah, I hear it all the time, how they're just desiring that and don't know how to get there and feel stuck. So I love that I can step into that space and walk alongside those women and help them get unstuck.
Yeah. And Kalika, I love members like yourself who the reason why they started this business, right? There's a lot of reasons why people start their business, but the main focus is impact. Like you want to
Mm,
make an impact on these women's lives, because generational blessings are upon them, not just because they got married, but because of what God can do through them in the midst of the season that God may place them next, right? So I love that you're a part of that. You're like, I want to make an impact on these people. and
And I
and
think
as we think,
another,
yeah, go for it.
not only generationally, but just like culturally,
Yeah.
sometimes it's easy to like sort of look at our world and just be like, oh, it's a mess, and kind of throw up your hands. But this is my little way of building into our culture today, like helping create healthy, thriving marriages. Is there anything better you could do to bless today's culture? Like that's my contribution to
Mm,
helping build and maintain a culture that loves God and creates families and,
yeah.
so I feel like that's just an impact on the culture as well.
Man, that is so huge to think about. So it's not even generational, but cultural, right? You are being a light in the darkness by working with one of the main institutions that God has set in place, that God ordained, and one of them was marriage, right? And you're making that impact. So thank you for that, and thank you for all the people that you get to help. It's awesome. Yeah. So with that, let me ask you this. You got your first enrollment. How many times now do you think you can keep doing this?
Oh, well, hopefully a lot. I mean, the goal is to just bless and come alongside thousands of women. So it
I love it.
starts small, and as you grow your skills, you continue to, snowball that and grow more and more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what I love is that you were like, before you're like, I don't know how to get there. And then you set up all these systems and you're like, I'm here. And I'm sure that has grown your confidence of like, I can do this again and again and again and just go from there and hit the 1,000. And I'm gonna love when we get to have a conversation. You're like, I hit 10,000, right?
Yeah.
And we could reference this date and be like, oh my gosh, remember when we were just talking about one? Now I'm in the thousands. That's awesome.
Hmm.
So with that, what would you say to someone who is considering CBI?
Yeah. I think the program is fantastic. It is really, um, if you're willing to put in the time and the work, like I had to, before I had my baby in September, I spent pretty much from the time I started the program in like July to September, getting up almost every morning of the week at 5 in the morning before work to work for a couple of hours on my business, 1 to 2 hours. I mean, it's not easy, it takes work, but that led to being where I am. So if you're willing to put in the work and you feel called to something beyond what you're doing now, um, I would say CBI is just a fantastic program that addresses both the practical steps of building a business and also the mindset behind building a business. You need both, and CBI really hits both. And so, yeah, I just think it's a really good combination.
That's fantastic. Kalika, any more parting words for folks on this path?
Hmm. Yeah, I just think that if you have the dream to be an entrepreneur, I never saw myself as an entrepreneur, like pretty much my whole life until maybe the last couple of years. I don't really have anyone in my family who's an entrepreneur or like business minded. We're all very much employee minded, like you just work for a job, you work for someone else, you get a paycheck, and that's how you make money.
Yeah.
And so having a dream to build a business was something, still is something that I feel a little bit on my own doing because my family doesn't really know how to support me. If you have a dream to be an entrepreneur, though, whether or not you have the support of people in your life, if you have it, God put it there. And I just wouldn't overlook it or excuse it away like, oh, that's just a pipe dream. If you have it in you, that's from God and it's worth chasing.
Yeah. That's fantastic, Kalika. And while you may not have your family there, at least you have us, right? You have
Yeah,
CBI that can support you, and you can always
yeah,
reach out to us, message us,
yeah,
and we're there for you. And we are cheering you on. Like we get it so excited, the whole team. I remember when you sent the first email, you're like, "I got my first enrollment. What do I do?" And we're like, "Yeah." We're like celebrating for you.
yeah,
But I love that you're just reminding people it's not about the action step first, but it's the why. And you were like, the why is God put it in your heart, and
mm,
don't forsake that. Don't forsake the small beginnings. It's right there, right?
yeah,
So Kalika, thank you so much for just sharing your heart, sharing what you do, and sharing how you're impacting people, because I think that this is going to be a blessing for many people to hear. And we're just praying a blessing over your business, that it would flourish, and it doesn't just hit thousands, it hits tens of thousands of people, and women and marriages and families and children. And 20 years from now, they could look back and be like, it's because Kalika took the courage and the step to go out and do what needed to get done. And she was
yeah,
like, I'm going to sow because of my story, because of your story,
yeah.
you were able to help those. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thanks so much for having me and for all CBI does.
Yeah, awesome. Well, with that, I will leave you. And for those listening, I hope you guys have a great day, and God bless.